Hello, and welcome to this very special Warrior Bowl Live. You may very well be able to see that it's not just the usual me and Foley that you're stuck with this evening. There's a few more of us. We are getting the band put together, and we have the Warrior Bowl 2020 finalists joining us. With us we've got Pike, we've got Steve, we've got Foley, we've got Jeff, and we've got Kev. How are we doing, fellas?
Good.
Very good.
Excellent. We will hopefully be joined by one more. Dougie is en route back to his hotel to jump on the Wi-Fi, so he will hopefully
via this bar, via that bar, via this bar, via that bar.
Exactly. So this evening we're just going to have a bit of a chat, really, just to talk through with these guys. They all made it through to the Warrior Bowl final. So we're just going to talk about their experience of the Warrior Bowl, how they found it, and just have a little bit of a chat. So before we jump in, for anyone that's joined us that doesn't know what the Warrior Bowl is, before we start talking about it, so Warrior Bowl is effectively, it's just a really huge fantasy tournament where fans, analysts compete in to be crowned the ultimate fantasy football warrior. And we have the very first fantasy football warrior with us this evening. So we'll get to him in just a second.
Now down to Stephen.
So and it was so you guys, you made it. So you're 5 of the final 8. We haven't got everybody with us here this evening, unfortunately. But 5 of the final 8 out of 240 teams. So 240 teams across 22 countries on 6 different continents. So it was really just a global competition, and you guys all did incredibly well to get to the final. So on that, I guess it's only right that we kick off with the champ himself.
Champ is here.
The first ever ultimate fantasy football warrior, Mr. Stephen Perkins. How are we?
Hey, good. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good, really good.
Get your butt in the seat.
Oh, Dougie's here.
And Dougie has made it back to his hotel. He's here.
Lay down.
Hopefully we'll get him back in a sec. So Steve, again, before we get into the Warrior Bowl and your experience, just again, we'll run around and everybody just tell everyone a little bit about sort of who you are and your sort of fantasy football story to this point.
My name's Steve. I'm at Flavorize this on Twitter. I write for idpguys.com. Pretty much, I've been doing redrafts, and last year I was big into the best ball scene, the Superflex scene. So this year it's more on best ball, more on the DFS content, doing that kind of stuff, and that led into my strategy that we'll get into about the Warrior Bowl. Just integrating kind of best ball and DFS strategies into that.
Nice.
Yeah, strategy, Greg.
Yeah.
Strategy.
Maybe there's a reason you won.
What's that about? He had a strategy.
So come on then, Foley, as you're chiming in. For those that don't know who you are, despite being on
Excuse me, Sword Conference champion. Say it. Come on. Look at the pain on Tin Man's face.
It's painful. It's painful.
He battered me all season. He battered me until like week 16.
Absolutely did.
Just sneaked through on week 16 after he battered me all year. Yeah, that's actually true, isn't it? Yeah.
So come on then, share with us who you are and your fantasy football story.
I'm the guy who does all the hard work for Warrior Bowl. This guy's got the face of Warrior Bowl because he's got a very pretty face. I'm the guy who does all the hard work behind it and the terrible videos. And my fantasy football experience started about 4 years ago when I thought, what's this? I'll have a go. And then look at this. Sword Conference winner. Fabulous. And it's 99% luck with 1% inspiration. It really is. It's got to be, hasn't it? It's just all a bit of luck. I'd like to say that I cheated even, but I'm not that clever to cheat. It was just luck. But it was good fun. Really good fun.
You got really
good
lucky
fun,
there
though.
at the end.
I did. Yeah. It was
So,
good fun.
so as you already mentioned, Tim Mann, you two were in the same conference, same division together.
Brothers, gladiators,
so-
gladiators.
We were gladiators.
Tim Mann, come on, give us your story.
Started fantasy football 20 years ago with when you had to read stats in the newspaper. This year's the first time that I ever got in any Twitter type leagues due to COVID. I've went from normal having 4 leagues to this year I had 15, and this was my second charity league. So it was good
Nice.
stuff. 240 people, and I finished in the top 5. I think that's pretty stellar for a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah. And you're not the only one whose number of leagues massively rocketed this year with COVID. I think we're probably all in that boat. Kevin Tompkins down in the corner. Come on, give us your story for those that don't know.
Well, my name's Kevin Tompkins. You can follow me at Twitter at KTompkinsII. I've been playing fantasy for about 20 years. Just stumbled into a random Yahoo fantasy league, and then that was that. I mean, I've always been a fan of football, and then that just kind of ramped that up there. Currently, I write for Fantasy Pros as well as Ball Blast and Fighting Chance Fantasy. And Shield Conference winner, just saying.
There he is.
Me and Foley are going to have a knockdown, drag-out war here.
Yeah.
So good thing Jeff's here to separate us.
I got you.
and last but not least, Pike.
There he is.
I just I've been doing fantasy for 25 years or so. I just stumbled across Warrior Bowl on Twitter. I figured I'd be up for the challenge. I'm just a fan. I like football. I don't get paid to do it. I just I'm a working stiff. I just figured I would join up, to beat some analysts and some other fans.
Yeah.
I won the Predator division. I lost 1 game all year, and I lost
right
by
at the
4
end.
points. It was the week that I played that Broncos quarterback, the receiver, whatever. He lost me 7 points.
Hitting.
He lost me 7 points, and I lost by 4 that week. That's it.
This is what happens when you try and get cute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had 4 guys on my bench. I could have played nobody in one, but he cost me 7 points.
Who's everybody's
was
teams? Who's everybody's teams then in real life? Who's your actual NFL team?
Eagles, fly.
Packers.
Eagles,
Broncos.
Packers, Broncos.
I'm ashamed to say I'm the only one in here that cheers for a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl. Bengals. Who they?
Ooh. Might be next year.
No. Ooh.
No.
Hopefully before I pass away.
Yeah.
That was a nice when we went that roundup. There was a nice little illustration, I think, of just the breadth of and the variety of folks that we've got in this league. And obviously in the final, we've got guys in there, analysts that are producing content. We got guys that are just fans that aren't producing content, that just love the game and love fantasy, and everyone's competing together. And the final was a really good mix of both. Excellent. So what we'll do, guys, we'll just a little bit. We'd just love to get your thoughts on your Warrior Bowl experience. So how you found it, what you enjoyed, how you came about it. And we've touched a little bit about strategy and how you approached it. So, Pike, we'll come to you first this time. We came to you last.
I just, like I said, I just stumbled across it on Twitter because I follow a whole lot of fantasy football accounts, and I figured it would be great. I had no strategy, none at all. I got lucky taking Mahomes first. I took Kelsey second. Then I think I took who did I take? Then I lucked out with Aaron Rodgers in the 4th, I think. So that pretty much. solidified, my team. But, so I cruised through like a regular season. Like I said, I only lost that one game. But then, COVID and injuries, I had to start Lynn Bowden in the championship week and running back because a Mostert was out, Ronald Jones was out, Julio Jones was out. I started a shell of what got me there the championship week. I just got lucky with the draft and a couple, lucky trades that I benefited from at the time, but I probably could have used those guys in the championship week. I traded away. Seemed like a good idea at the time. I just wanted to go undefeated because I knew that Greg was rooting for me to lose.
He really was. He rang me every day to tell me.
He said that every week. I was one of the last 2 teams to lose. Every week I was watching the pod, and he was rooting against me, and I was DMing him all the time. Every time I won, I was sending him all kinds of trash. But so I was playing week by week. I wasn't really looking forward, and I think that was my problem. I was playing week to week. I just wanted to win that week, just so I could give Greg a hard time.
That's a redraft, though, isn't it? That's how you win in redraft, isn't it? Week to week, week to week.
Exactly. But yeah. I didn't even look at matchups for the championship or playoffs or anything. I just wanted to just keep winning, And I could have made some moves that you might have helped me. Further down the road, but I wasn't looking that far ahead, I just wanted to keep winning to rub it in Greg's face because he was losing all the time.
To be fair, you did a good job of that. Every week when we were doing the live streams, you were jumping on, commenting, telling us how you were still undefeated. We didn't even get to the end of the week and you were DMing me and there's still games to go, saying it's in the bag. I've won this week, another week undefeated.
Yep.
So yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
I can't say I was disappointed when you lost that final week of the season. There was a little bit of me that enjoyed that.
Also, I should have won that week because AJ Brown was on my team. He brought back a kick for a touchdown. I thought I should have got 6 points for that, but that's all right. Oh well.
Exactly. So, Kevin, come on, tell us a bit about your Warrior Ball experience.
So I'm pretty sure I saw that Warrior Ball from Murph from 5 Yard Rush. And then just picked that up and was off to the races here. And I typically, in a lot of my builds, just based on how drafts went in 2020, went 0 RB. So I took Mahomes I took Kamara and then Kelsey, and then went Hopkins, Ridley, A.J. Brown, and Terry McLaurin, and that pretty much carried my team. My quarterbacks were trash, though, Goff and Minshew, but ended up taking Herbert with this in like the 3rd to last round and picked up Jalen Hurts also, which kind of propelled me. So got lucky. And also, hey, last week I started Lynn Bowden too, so I'm right there with you, brother. But trust me, I started some absolute crap at running back too. I mean, we're talking Kalen Balaj, Jamal Williams, Zach Moss, Rex Burkhead, so guys like that. But those first 6 picks pretty much carried my team and just kind of trying to tread water with everything else. But and I think Noah Fant, I mean, I was kind of surprised the way drafts went because I was really expecting with tight end premium and super flex that quarterbacks are just going to fly. Tight ends are going to fly. I got Kelsey at 209, and I was absolutely shocked by that. So that was it felt like getting a gift there. And then really just waiting on quarterback because they just did not go and just able to just grab, Kamara to buoy my running backs. And then those 4 top 20 in full PPR receivers. It just definitely carried me pretty much the whole way.
Absolutely, and that's it. And it's really interesting looking on the sort of the big tournaments like this, the multi-league tournaments, and you look across all the different drafts, and everyone's playing by the same rules. Everyone's got the same scoring, but the drafts unfold in such different ways in terms of like Kelsey going in the first round regularly in a lot of the drafts, and some of your guys he fell to late in the second round. So, but if you can land on a guy like Herbert towards the end, if you obviously set your team up nicely in those first few rounds, but if you then land on a guy like Herbert towards the end, that's just gonna tip you over, put you over the top.
That was gravy. That was my best pick, honestly, that entire draft.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Steve, you mentioned about strategy, and you had a bit of a plan going in.
Yeah, for me, I'm a big best ball guy, and last year I did about 100 best balls, so I knew about where everybody's values should be, and I'm really big into strength of schedule. And so I knew that those kind of guys, and I've been picking up Colts players because of their strength of schedule and the way that their schedule was going to end. So going into the draft, like you guys touched on it a little bit, when you go into Superflex drafts, it's kind of the Wild West. Like, people really don't know how to draft in Superflex drafts, and the values are all over the place. And so, I want to go back to just for a second before I was in because Kevin was in. We were both in the 102s for the fishbowl, and we were in a chat group, and Kevin was there, and he was chatting this up, and I said, I don't know about these charity things that you get into that you can trade, because people that are really good at trading, they pull off these crazy trades. And I was like, I don't know. And then Kevin got in, and I was like, I got to get in just so I can try to show Kevin up a little bit. And so, I mean, again, I want to go back just for a second, because hats off to Greg and Foley. I mean, raising over 10,000 or 12,000, whatever it ended up being, that's amazing. The amount of people
100%.
impacted by that, it was fantastic. So being a part of that was, that was an honor in itself too. But going back to, the biggest thing for me was just to try to find value and try to hit those guys that had a good strength of schedule. And so for me, I got Kamara just like Kevin. I got Diggs in the 7th round, which right now, if you say that sounds that's ridiculous, right? If you said that today, yeah. I mean,
that's money.
Yeah. And from going back to the best ball, I know, one thing I found is that the Falcons last year, the Falcons stacks were really cheap. So I got Matt Ryan, I got Ridley in the 6th round. I got Julio Jones in the 4th round. I got Gage, who didn't do a whole lot, but I had that stack all ready to go because those guys were going to have a bad defense and they're going to have to be on the field a lot. And so that was kind of my strategy, is to hit the strength of schedule, the weak teams with the great offenses, but the bad defenses, and doing that kind of thing. And then from the DFS side of it, I played every week like it was a DFS contest. And so the players, I wouldn't play the best players. I would play the players with the best individual matchups. And so I got burned in the final. I don't remember who I played. I think I played, I might've played Lynn Bowden too, instead of like CD Lamb, something like that, just cause it should have been Bowden. He should have had like a 5-point week, and I don't remember what he ended up doing. And then Lamb went crazy.
Not much.
And so, I mean, it's not the greatest strategy to play every week like it's DFS, but at the same time, you can squeak out extra little points doing that every week, and those points add up to extra wins or extra total points. And so that's always been my thing, is to play it every week like it's DFS. So nice. And it's interesting that how much you factor in strength of schedule, because people talk about strength of schedule, and a lot of time it's an afterthought, and or it might be like a tiebreaker. You've got two guys, and which one's got the best strength of schedule, and it might go that way. But I don't know a lot of guys that use that as a big driver in terms of what they're doing and how they're building their roster. Yeah, there's kind of two strengths of schedules. I mean, there's one like based upon how teams did last year, and then the one that I like to use, Warren Sharp is great at graphing it out, is the one that's based on Vegas projected wins. And so they have, if you're going to have 10 wins, this is how they're going to do it. And so that strength of schedule by projected Vegas wins is a little bit more accurate. And that's been working for me. Sounds good. Foley's furiously writing that down, ready for for next year.
What are you drinking there, Mr. Flavorize This? Mr. Champion, Mr. Ultimate Warrior, sorry. What are you drinking?
Oh, I've had a long week, so I'm drinking a little Blanton's. So it's a little bit of a special bottle, and I'm breaking into it for this live stream and for just a rough week. So little Blanton's.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
This week anyway, so I don't know.
Is it nice? It's good.
Yeah. Oh, it's real. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Blanton's. They have this little like racing horse on the top of the bottles. And it's a nice whiskey. It's nice.
I was born in Kentucky and I live here in Kentucky, and we can't even find Blanton's. It's made here, and it's unreal. You can't. It used to go for $60 a bottle. Now it's going for $100. As soon as it hits the stores, it's gone.
It's gone. It's impossible to find it. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Wow.
So Dougie, you've arrived. We've got you.
Dougie's here. Is Dougie here?
Dougie's here.
Is he
He's
here?
on
See him
mute.
anyway.
He's
What?
on
Is he
mute.
on mute?
He's here
He's on
somewhere.
mute.
While he's figuring that out, Tim Man,
No,
tell us.
he's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone to order another drink. He's ordering another drink. He's just going to get another drink.
Tim Man, go on. Tell us about your experience while we see if we can get Dougie back.
I started just listening to Steve talk. It makes me even prouder to be where I'm at in this fantasy football game. I've only done it for fun with friends, and due to COVID last year, I really was like, I want to give back. I had retired from my job, and I had nothing to do, and I started getting in more leagues. And I had never heard of Sleeper. I got on the Sleeper app, and Greg, I think you and I, or somebody from the Warrior Bowl, and I think it was you, you were in the Fishbowl Satellite, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you were in the Fishbowl Satellite, and I don't know, you posted something one day, and you started talking about which tight end you needed to take. And I just jumped in as a fan and said, and I gave you my opinion, and we started chatting ever since then. And I never thought that I would be where I was, 250 or 240 competitors, and to be in the top 10 is just unbelievable to me but it has a lot, like you all said, to do with luck. I was drafting from the 9th position, and I'm trying to think who fell to me. Dalvin Cook fell to me at the 1-9, and in the second round, Derrick Henry fell to me. I could have picked up Travis Kelce as well. Travis Kelce went at 2-8 in our division, but I went ahead, and I've always known running back. This is the first super flex that I've ever been in. So I thought, let's put together the best roster, just like I do home leagues. And I drafted Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry, and I waited till the 3rd round where I picked up Josh Allen. And Josh Allen was huge. For the 3rd round, Josh Allen was huge. Now, the mistakes after my first 3 rounds, the mistakes started happening. In the 4th round, I took Kenny Galladay, which I think would have had a big year, but injuries hurt him. So that 4th round and the 6th round drafting Kareem Hunt, who did all right, but I was passing up players like I saw that A.J. Brown went in that frame that I would have rather had. I would have rather had Calvin Ridley. And then I looked down the draft where everybody was picked, and you had Justin Jefferson drafted in the 14th round, Chase Claypool drafted in the 16th round. And those people, I mean, it's amazing to me what the Superflex does. I mean, it's a huge, like Steve said, you don't need great quarterbacks. You can run your team with the best players. And that this year I will do that. I will kind of push the quarterbacks back unless you get them Mahomes. Because I don't think Lamar Jackson was being drafted 2nd quarterback off the board, and he really didn't do a whole lot for people. So I didn't know anything about stacks or anything like that, but all this is done. All this did was help me win my home leagues. Like I had the trifecta, the hat trick across the board from my 3 different home leagues by using what I learned from you guys. And I also learned that as a fan, you all are just normal people too. I sometimes used to think, oh, they don't want to be bothered with my questions or this and that. I mean, I just wrote down Steve is IDP, so I can use him. I might shoot him a message. I always thought I was bothering people from Dynasty Nerds and from Scott Fish and Ryan McDowell. I always thought I was bugging those guys, but I realized from this that we're all just people who love the game of football and love fantasy and love reaching out. I've had so much support in the past few months of just stuff that's went on in my life, where Greg and Murph and Foley have been there and reached out to me and just said, "Hey man, things are going to be good." And I feel like we're friends in the online world. So that's good stuff. I really think it's cool. I look at your all's profiles and I learn from each and every one of you. I learn Kevin is over here sporting his Robert Woods stuff and his Johnson. I don't know.
Bobby Trees.
And Cooper up here, he's a what you said, you're an Eagles fan?
Yep.
I mean, we all make bad decisions on our team. But I mean, I've done it since I did it since I was 6 years old with Icky Woods. So I mean, it's just, this has been the most amazing experience, getting to know you guys and being able to reach out to you all and talk to you all about fantasy football. And I think this is the coolest. The Warrior Bowl, I wanted to donate to a charity. I donated to Fish Bowl. I want to donate to another charity. And this is 240 people. Next year, what's the number you're doing in 2021?
The plan, the aim.
Have you committed to it?
We pretty much. The aim is 480.
That's amazing. And it's just going to grow from there. So I still want some Warrior Bowl stuff. You've sent me links to order more Warrior Bowl gear. I'm proud to be part of this.
You just wait till we have the US Warrior Bowl party in person.
Hey,
I've heard that Greg is going to pay for the table in Vegas. I've heard this. I've heard it. I don't know if it's true.
Well, I'll be there.
He's going to buy a few bottles of vodka.
At this point, I'd be quite happy to just get out of my house. I've barely left my house in 12 months. So, but just to jump on what Tin Man said there, absolutely, in terms of the best thing for me about the whole Warrior Bowl thing has just been getting to know and meet everybody that we've along the way. And you said about the only main reason you got into it was because of lockdown. The whole reason it exists is because of lockdown. Because I was sat at home, did a few new startups because we were bored. There was all the Scott Fishbowl hype, and so we thought. I was chatting to a couple of people and it's like, I've had this idea. First of all, am I crazy? Do we think we could get this off the ground for this many people? Given that I wasn't even on Twitter 12 months this time last year. We've got basically only ever done sort of home leagues and leagues with friends and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do you think we could get this off the ground going from, I think that was June time that we kicked it off? And just the way that, as you said, we thought contacting people saying that this is what we're doing. Would you want to get involved? Would you help us out? Would you sort of share a tweet and stuff like that? And again, we kind of expected to be like, we're going to be bothering people. People won't be interested. They're probably getting asked this sort of stuff all the time. But pretty much everyone we spoke to unanimously was like, yeah, absolutely, definitely, we'll help. What can we do? Can we help you out in any way? If you've got any questions, people sort of donated prizes and that sort of stuff. It was unbelievable, the sort of support, and that's the reason it was a success. Really, all we did was just put on this thing. you guys that all joined in, that all donated, that helped promote it, that made it the success that it was. So that's I think I've said a couple of times on the live streams, like, for me personally, this is the worst year ever for my fantasy performance. Like, in like,
and you were really bad to start with.
Well, exactly.
And this was even worse. You're terrible at this game.
Exactly.
Oh, so the only reason why you're on here is because you're the host. You didn't do anything.
Yes.
No.
He's paid for the restream. That's all it is.
Oh, I know not to actually text him fantasy football questions. Text one of you other folks.
No, not to Greg. Not to Greg. No, you'd be doing yourself a disservice there.
Okay.
I was nowhere near the final. Yeah, in like 16 years, this was by far the worst I've ever had. But at the same time, it was definitely the most enjoyable year of fantasy football I've ever had. And as much as Foley likes to give me stick, in the leagues that we compete in together, there's only one of us has won one of those leagues.
Have you? Did you? That was luck more than judgment, then, surely.
Of course, undoubtedly. There we go. Come on, Foley. You can give us your.
You did. You won our one of our home leagues, didn't you? A couple of years ago.
I did.
My Warrior Bowl experience, Greg. I have a Shakespearean story of joy and tragedy for you. I did many startups last summer, like you said, because of lockdown. I started new dynasties, I started new redraft, I started new this, new that, new the other. I drafted lots of teams, and I thought every single one was a fucking winner. I loved every single team, and then I drafted the Warrior Bowl team. And I remember saying to you, it was the worst team I've drafted all year, and it was the last team I've drafted all year. I hated my team. I took Kelsey early. I never took a tight end early. I had Kamara. I didn't really fancy Kamara. I'm a Saints fan. I didn't fancy Kamara at all. I thought he'd regress horribly. I thought it'd be terrible. I had a terrible team. I thought my team was horrendous, and I started pretty bad. I think I was like 2-2 after 4 weeks, and Tidman was running away with our division. And I thought, this isn't for me. I'm terrible at this. This is awful. And then halfway through the season, Kamara ended up being running back one by halfway through the season. And I thought, I'm that smart guy. I'm that guy who's going to trade him away at his peak. And I traded him away just before his bye week because I needed a win. I needed to get back on the horse. And I traded him away, and he was RB1. And I got Kittle and Gibson. And I won that week because Kittle went off. And I won that week, and Gibson went off. It was the start of Gibson's rise. And I won that week, and I thought, this is it. This is it. I've got it. I'm going to be the ultimate champion. I'm the ultimate fantasy football warrior. Kittle got injured for the rest of the fucking season, which is fabulous, isn't it? But Kamara didn't actually do that well, did he? For a couple of weeks back from his bye week, he wasn't that good, and I still thought this is why I still got towards the end. I got to the championship. I won the conference, and then I thought that the final week, this is it. This is it. And then Kamara was the Juliet who took the poison, who poisoned my final week and left me cold, dead on the ground.
Foley.
How about that, Greg? Little bit of Shakespeare for you, Greg.
How long have you been writing that out?
Yeah.
about 30 seconds. Was it any good? Was it about right? Was it? Does that even exist in Shakespeare? That's Romeo and Juliet, isn't it?
Broadly.
No.
The worst part about that, Foley, the worst thing about that right there is, though, Foley did offer me and Foley were attached. We were friends throughout this.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I turned down his offer because he tried to give me some crazy offer earlier in the season for Devontae Parker, and I thought this was before it all even started. Yes, I've got the text, the tweets, and you wanted Devontae Parker.
Receipts.
But the thing is, you offered me Kamara, which I should have taken for the name, for Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was doing better than Kamara at first, and you wanted Galladay, and I said no to Derrick. I said no to Kamara for Derrick Henry and Galladay. Galladay gets hurt.
Oh yeah,
and like a week or two later, and I know I would have beat you with Kamara's.
You would have destroyed me.
Every time Greg tweets about the Warrior Bowl and flavorize this is the champion and Foley is in first place in the Immortals division, things that I didn't do.
Yeah.
Caught me second place.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
I enjoy the fact as well that you all know so much about your teams and your drafts, and I imagine you probably refreshed yourselves, but mine is just blanked from my memory. I couldn't tell you who was on my team. Exactly, I've just wiped it. May as well just not have competed, just organized.
I remember you said at the beginning of the year, you said, look, I don't want to win this just in case people think there's a bit of collusion and a bit of dodgy stuff going on here. You did a brilliant job of being really, really shit at it. You did a brilliant job, Greg. You convinced everybody you're really bad at it.
Good job.
Didn't want to run the risk of coming anywhere near winning. So you know what?
We believe you.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. So yeah, Foley mentioned there about his trade, which I knew he would mention because he banged on about it all year. About his trade of Kamara, but so was there anything for any of you guys that had like a key moment or a turning point in the season, like a trade or anything like that?
I gotta say, go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say I looked at my pickups and I was picking because I drafted Higbee like a moron and I was like so pro Higbee. Kevin could tell you how pro Higbee I was. That I was constantly trying to get a tight end, and I got lucky. I got Logan Thomas. I think just after maybe week 1, I got him I bid $27 and everybody else bid like $1 on him. And I got him. And that was a big point for me because he showed up, on a weekly basis. And he kind of dug me out of that Higbee hole, tight end premium league, and you got a crappy tight end. And then, we mentioned Gibson, and I drafted Gibson in round 11, so I got a little bit lucky there. And that was just when he was starting to go on his way up. You were seeing the trend. He was like maybe ADP 240, and then right when the Warrior Bowl was starting to draft, he was starting to go up and up and up. So I took a chance on him. Those were probably my two big moments, were just getting those two guys. And kind of, I also, when Breeze got hurt, I bid on both Winston and on Taysom Hill at the same time. And I got lucky. I picked them. I got them both at the same time, and I paid like $50 between them. So I got a little bit lucky there too. So
worked out well.
Yeah.
Worked out. Pike, you were going to say have your.
I was league mates with your buddy Maceball, I think his name is.
Yeah.
I badgered him all year long. He had Darren Waller. I badgered him all year long. I think I tried to overpay for him so much, and he just wouldn't budge on him because I already had a Kelsey, Andrews, and I had a Logan Thomas too. And I wanted Waller was the missing piece. I figured if I get that, I'm locked in. I was throwing everything at him, and I'll tell you what, that guy's a brick wall. All right,
he's a Raiders fan. You know that he's a Raiders fan.
That makes sense then. That makes sense. Because I tried for like 6 weeks straight, like every day. I was sending him messages trying to get Waller, and he was just not budging. So actually, I blame him. I blame him for my entire season. Okay.
Yeah, he's no way he'd let Waller go.
I don't think he made a trade all year.
I got to the final. No, he wouldn't do that, Kev.
No, I mean, but I tried getting him early. I tried getting him like week 2, week 3. Well, once I figured out, because again, I'm not a pro at this. I've done super flex before or whatever, but once I figured out the intricacies of the scoring, I'm like, I got to load up on tight ends here. I got lucky. I took Kelsey in the second. I took Andrews, who was a bust, in the third. So my first 2 picks were 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. And then I didn't and then I lucked out and got AJ Brown, and I traded for Julio Jones or whatever. But and I got Aaron Jones, somehow too. I don't remember how, but I had Aaron Jones, a Mostert, for most of the year until Mostert went down. But I was willing to give that all away for Waller, and he just wasn't budging.
Kev hates running backs. So if you try to offer him that, you're going to get nowhere.
Yeah, well, I offered him everything. I even think I threw Mahomes in an offer just to see it, and he still turned it down.
I mean, I really can't talk about running backs. I spent a combined like $113 fab dollars on. I have it here. Hold on. It was Jermichael Hasty, Jamal Williams, Rex Burkhead was $39. Yeah, it was really my free agency was just churning running backs and hoping to hit one. And I hit a couple for like a week or two, but other than that, it was just not good. And I'm not happy that I spent a ninth round. On it was 8th round on Julian Edelman, and I really should have taken Cam Akers. Picks later.
Yeah. I had Edelman in my first team for the first couple of weeks, and I was desperately hoping on my bench that he was going to come back and do something for me. And no.
Yeah, he was great in my IR slot though. Held that up pretty nicely.
Yeah. He looked fabulous. That was great hair.
Yeah.
I bought Cam Akers for $7. That was my big pickup.
Nice.
I traded Cam Akers for Ronald Jones week 5 because Akers wasn't even playing and Jones was. Sure wouldn't have minded, Akers in the championship instead of Bowden. But I was on that week-to-week kick. I wanted to keep that streak going, and Ronald Jones was producing and Akers wasn't. So.
Yeah,
chasing that undefeated season.
Yeah, I could not get anybody to. Oh, sorry. No, I'm just gonna say I could not get anybody to bite on a trade in our league. I didn't make a trade, but I mean, at the very least, I ran out of fab dollars. I think by week 9 or 10. So I was just going with $0 bids and got lucky and got Hurts with a $0 bid. So
yeah. It's interesting with the trades. I mean, there's some leagues. I mean, we obviously spoke to most people who are in. We had different people who we knew in different leagues and stuff. And some leagues were, a little bit quiet with trades, and some leagues were just non-stop trading. The Gladiator League, Tim, man, we rattled through some big time trades there, didn't we? We had some big moves, like big people, big stuff. It was great. It kept it really interesting to see big people going either way. That Kamara trade, Greg, as you know, the legendary trade that you talked about all the time. You won't shut up about it.
But like I said, as a fan and who has no electronic equipment to do podcasts and live streams and all this, Foley, I knew you did. And I was like, this guy is trying to destroy me. I know whatever trade.
And it worked.
It was going to be no. When Foley sent offers, it was going to be no. But now
that's like a real league I'm in.
Now we're in another league together. I could see doing some trades.
How does he know me so well? How does he know me so well?
He's seen behind the curtain and realised actually you haven't got all this kit. You just off your phone, propped up on some cookbooks.
That's right. Look at Tin Man. He has 150 followers. He's the perfect guy to get Kenny Galladay.
I need a highwayman's mask so I can put it on when I send a trade. I'm going to steal from you.
Well, a couple of you mentioned the final, and we'll come on to that. But we should mention the fact that there's a couple of guys that couldn't join us tonight. So obviously Dougie's been in and out a little bit. We haven't actually managed to hear from him, but he's traveling, so I think he struggled with the Wi-Fi. But he was in my division. He was in the Immortals division. He obviously got to the final. He won our division. That was a really tight division. Went right down to the wire. A couple of guys close along the way. So and some good guys in our division. So we had who do we have? We had Gary Haddo. We had Bo.
Good.
Angry Her was in our division. Will Harris, a lot of good guys. And yeah, it went right down to the wire. But So he's not with us this evening. He planned to be, but I think he's having some issues. And also, obviously, in the final we had Murph from 5 Yard Rush,
what a ledge!
Who had a great season. He was in the Hercules division. He pretty much ran away with that division.
He's silver medal, wasn't he? Did he get second in the end? He was silver medal, wasn't he?
Yes,
he did. He
Mm.
did second in the final. And IDP Iggy as well, who was in the final as well and couldn't join us this evening. He didn't. So I think it was 2 of you that didn't win your divisions that still made it to the final. Tim Man, he's still not happy about it, and Iggy, who made it into the playoffs but managed to get themselves into the final. So those guys unfortunately couldn't join us this evening. But made it to the final to round out the 8. So you mentioned about the final. So what was because you were all in a Twitter group for the final. So I don't know, obviously some of you knew each other a little bit beforehand and had spoken a little bit, but we kind of put all 8 of you into a Twitter group chat. Just sort of thought for the final it would be good for everybody to be able to talk, and we sort of posted the updated scores on there. And I think from memory, Murph was out in front. I think it went all the way down.
He was.
All the way down to the 4th quarter on Monday Night Football. I think
Monday night. Yeah.
Where it was decided. So, what was your guys' experience? How did you enjoy the final?
The first part was great with Kamara.
Yeah.
It was
3 or 4
that enjoyed it the most. The champ was that enjoyed it the most, right?
Yes. But the thing is about the finale was we were relying on Murph. Murph pretty much was telling us what was going on and how many people were who had players left. I mean, I was 1.5 points down from Murph of taking 2nd place. I took 3rd place. I got the bronze. But Steven, if I remember correctly, he was canceling me out with Diggs. I had Diggs and Josh Allen. So I thought I could still win. I actually was in a position, Steven thought that he was going to lose, and I thought I was actually going to win this thing. And Josh Allen threw a touchdown in week 16, and we still had 8 minutes to go. And I thought, come on, Bills, let's do this. I knew Steven and I, if they threw to Diggs, we would cancel each other out. But I needed Josh Allen to get me. I think I lost. All I needed was a touchdown from Josh Allen. And they bring in Matt Barkley. And as soon as Matt Barkley came in, I started drinking bourbon. And we all knew Steven was going to win, and it was fun because the guys in the chat group, all 8 of us were really excited. Even the ones that didn't have a chance, they were cheering us all on. We were all watching football together. It was great. It was a whole lot of fun.
That was the best part, I think, was the camaraderie. I think that we were all rooting for each other. We didn't really. We wanted to win, but we didn't care if we won. We wanted to see people just excel. And so that was really cool. I know that Jack Humphrey, I think he did like a contest the week before for a Julio jersey, and I won that. And I was like, if I don't win the Warrior Bowl, then I won something, and I was just rooting for the guys. It was just fun. It was just such a fun contest, and to have it come down to the very last quarter was just so amazing. And I made, like I said, I made that mistake with Lamb and Bowden, and I just thought, I dug myself a hole. There's no way that I was going to win that. So that was an exciting, 60 minutes of football. It was one of the best, I don't care about the Bills, but that was one of the best games that I've seen for a long time. It was just so much fun.
It was the last quarter, wasn't it? It was the last quarter that won.
It went down to the final.
After all, after all those months,
down to the final quarter. It was fun.
And it was such a because 3 or 4 of you guys that had Kamara, and so it looked like the 3 or 4 of you were way out, and that was it. It could have been game over after after those first games, and Kamara put up, well, I can't remember what it was, some ridiculous amount of
65 points. Fuck.
But yeah, and then I think Murph didn't have Kamara, did he? But he managed to claw his way back, and it got really tight.
Yeah. Last quarter job. Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, that was, and again for me as a neutral in that group for the final, it was great seeing, exactly as Steve just said, everyone wanted to win, but everyone was just sort of rooting for each other, and it was really it was great to be tagging along on that that group chat, despite the fact I had no right to be there.
In the finals, I was just tagging along too. Trust me, I finished, I think, like 6th or 7th. I was just tagging along too, Greg. So you weren't the only one.
Yeah, 100%.
We've lost Kev there. Oh, he's back. Here he is.
I think he was just sad.
He's back.
Sad about the final.
How did you do, Kevin, in the finals?
I was 5th. I was riding that Kamara train, and then the wheels kind of fell off everywhere else with Bowden's 3 points, and I think I started Darnell Mooney in there with like 8, but nobody really other than like Kelsey with 26. They just kind of were like average. Nobody really showed out to propel me other than Kamara and Kelsey. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's 5th out of 240 people, though.
Yeah, I'll play.
What about you, Cooper?
I think I finished 6th. 6th or 7th. I don't know. I didn't have anybody. Everybody just, I don't know. I didn't have, Kamara. I didn't have any of the big guys that final weekend. Of course, the Lynn Bowden debacle. Like I said, I started guys that I picked up that week in the championship week because I lost Julio that week. I lost Mostert. I lost Jones. Guys that were guys that got me there. I lost. So I started, I think, 3 guys that I picked up that week with 0 fab dollars.
Well, that's the way it goes sometimes.
I had a hell of a regular season, though. I had a great regular season.
Everybody's dogging on Lynn Bowden. I'm a huge Kentucky Wildcat college football fan.
Yeah.
Dang.
I'll never forgive him.
I've been
I thought he was going to come out and
teams.
be like that next Randall Cobb.
I was hoping
I don't know. No, because I was excited because I was talking to you guys in that chat, and I'm like, I think I got to start this, this Bowden guy, and a couple of you guys said, yeah, I'm going with him too. Should be all right. So it gave me a little bit of confidence because I don't know what I'm doing. You guys do, So I thought I had a shot, but no, it turns out I was right.
Yeah, as long as you're not relying on me and Greg for advice. Our Warrior Ball motto is what's our Warrior Ball motto, Greg? What's our motto?
It's so emblazoned that you know it so well. It's we basically on multiple occasions we've said that we've never claimed to know what we're doing. We just organise the event.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Don't follow either of us.
Never take our advice.
For advice.
Well, I've been glad to be a part of it. It's been a lot of fun. It's
good. I'm glad.
You guys are some great people, and I'm looking forward to the future with you all.
You want to be back here next year? This time next year?
Absolutely. I keep saying that I should get something for 3rd place, and when I saw Greg said that I was going to be.
Yeah, you get one of them.
Hey, when Greg said that all of you all are going to be invited next year, I was like, hey, I won something.
There you go.
So
there
good
stuff.
You'll all be back to defend your division championship.
Defend our honor.
I love it.
What about the 8 but what about a little Champions League?
Ooh, hey.
The Champions.
Yeah.
That was that was muted at one point about a league for the finalists, or maybe a league for the champs or the division champions and stuff like that. So yeah, absolutely. If people want to do it, more than happy to put that together.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll obviously not be competing because I've got, as we've established, I've got no call to be involved in that. But happy to organise it.
I was reading one of your questions about how do you think you'll do in 2021? Fantasy football is all about game of luck. I mean, truly to see this group of guys. I mean, we've had a great, and there was some women that played in this league. And this might be our one shot to be all together because we're not going to be able to finish in the top 10 every year with that many people. But so I'm just blessed that it was the first one, and I'm happy with what I've done.
No. Greg is paying for the table in Vegas next year for us.
I'll be there.
No, he said, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's paying for the hotel as well.
Just shake your head, yes. Just shake your head, yes.
You guys can drive. We need to fly. So
we'll see.
Yes, okay.
I still plan on coming down to Kentucky, to drink some bourbon with you too.
I told you.
Good.
Let's do that.
We talked about that.
Absolutely.
About that.
I'll make it down there sometime.
If you make it down, shoot me a tweet, and we will hit the Bourbon Trail. If you come in May's a great time because of the Kentucky Derby. I'm 46 years old, but I still like to party. So
I'm 46 too, man. I'm the same age. I'm right there with you.
That's right.
Nice.
Perfect. So, I mean, we're closing in on an hour, and I think we've probably got to a good point there. So, I guess a good closing point really would just be to ask you guys all sort of what your biggest takeaway was really from Warrior Bowl and from this season.
I mean, it was fun, beating up on, some people that know what they're doing, because I don't. I mean, I was in a league with some guys that, get paid to do this. You know what I mean? And I kicked the crap out of them. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a big takeaway that the process, if you have a process, your process works. And everybody's talking about luck, but, just hearing the stories, and I think people knew what they were doing, like from the fans to the analysts. I mean, everybody knew value, and I think value drafting is huge. And I think that, people talk about being a fan, but I think they know what you're doing, and you know your process. Just trust your process, and that's what I learned. Is just trust the process. It'll work for you.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, coming together for a great cause. I mean, it's better than that, honestly.
Yeah, that was the best part. That was definitely the best part.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. I think from mine and Greg's point of view is this time last year we knew nothing about this, this community really. I think we knew fantasy football really from a home league perspective, maybe a little bit from an international perspective from the internet, but we had no idea that this community was so powerful, that what it could achieve in terms of raising money for good causes, and just really the great community feeling around people getting together to talk about something like nonsense game of fantasy football, but what sits behind that is that everybody just really bonds a little bit and has a bit of fun and just gets to know each other, and it just connects people all over the world. We've got 6 continents and people from all over the world just having a chat and just having a lot of fun, and it just feels like that's kind of what we need, isn't it? It's what we need is people having a chat from all over the world. At the moment, it's got to be on a computer, but you never know. In the future, maybe we get to say hello in person. We get to buy each other a drink. We get to have a good night, and we get to, go home really happy. I think that's the thing we've taken away from it.
100%, and that's it. Again, we kicked this off. Didn't have a clue how it was going to go. It could well have fallen flat on its face, and I figured we'd get probably some guys from the UK, a lot of guys from the UK, maybe a few from the US, and and that might be about it. But we ended up with people from 22 different countries around the world. So like we had drafts going on that had people with a time difference of like 19-hour time difference between where guys were. So it was crazy, and absolutely just to see the way that everybody, as I say, wasn't even on Twitter 12 months ago, so had no idea of the sort of the community that existed around all of this sort of stuff. And that's one of the things that when we kick this off and you kind of start to look at what's going on and see other people and other leagues that are going around, we thought, well, that a lot of these people might not want to help us. They might view us as a rival league, so to speak, and they might not want to help, but it couldn't have been further from the truth.
It couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah.
Everybody was more than willing to help. So yeah, that's.
So what can we achieve next year, Greg? What can we achieve next year?
Bigger and better. So
correct.
the plan is to double up. So go from 240 to 480, and hopefully if we double that, then we can double the amount of money that we raised for the charities. So it was £10,000, which is $13,000, I think, this year. So if we can double that next year, that'll be incredible. But that's the aim. So.
Hey, Greg,
to have all these guys in a final again, right?
Absolutely, we'd love that.
Hey, I'd like to be in it this time, if that's all right.
No. I said all these guys. I was cutting you out. I was like, all these guys.
Greg, you said it the best. I think the charity aspect of it was amazing. My dad has told me something several years ago, that he says we all have a platform and we all have a voice. We should use that platform and that voice to do good. And that's what this has done. So thank you for being that platform.
Appreciate it. And as I said before, we just put this thing together. It was all you guys that participated, that donated, that helped raise awareness of the event. It wouldn't have worked without everybody that was involved. You guys and all the other, the rest of the 240 people that got involved, and even the people that signed up and wanted to get involved but didn't make it in last year. Again, hopefully we'll be expanding next year. There'll be space for those next year. But absolutely, couldn't agree more. So I think that we've just ticked past the hour mark. So I think we'll wrap it up there, gents. Thank you very much for joining us.
Lovely to see you all.
Thank you.
Exactly. It's put faces and voices and everything to names and Twitter profiles is always good. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for joining us. Appreciate you being part of the Warrior Bowl. Can't wait to get started for Warrior Bowl 2021 next year.
Greg and I are going to bed, but not together.
No. A couple of 100 miles between us.
That's like nothing, though, is it? When the heart's involved. All right.
You always have to make it weird. Always make it weird every time.
That's on brand. That's on brand.
Very true. Very true. All right then, guys. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, and we'll see you all for Warrior Bowl 2021.
Good night, guys. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
See you again
Gladiators,
soon.
Gladiators.
Come on, Gladiators.
Gladiators.
Go!